Life. So many choices to make, with many being irreversible. Nights filled with regret and days filled with wondering what if. But a future full of possibilities. Let's harness that. We've all made choices that have led us into an unfavorable outcome. Let me explain how we can take control of the most important choice, our health, and why. Today I'm going to speak on just a few aspects of making healthy lifestyle choices by making a few tweaks to our lifestyles. Firstly, the dangers of eating fast food, both physically and mentally. Next, the mental benefits of physical exercise. And lastly, how to hold on to positive change. My name is Angelo Carbone. I'm a police officer in a metropolitan area. So I see the effects of people not having healthy food readily available, which is one of the biggest factors. Next is going to be the exercise. But firstly, we know that fast food is notorious for cheap, filler ingredients that are artificial, void of any nutritional value. Consistent consumption of fast food is known to lead to severe health concerns. We understand that fast food is a big proponent of heart disease, heart attack, stroke, diabetes, plethora of different physical ailments. Now, per MD Joel Furman in 2018, in an article of the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine, he states that people who frequently eat processed foods are 7 times more likely to experience a stroke before the age of 45. Now, by eating a healthy diet, we decrease our risk of severe health incidents, attributing also to healthier weights. And as I'm sure we all know, heavier weights can lead to more physical ailments, whether it's joint problems, cardiovascular problems, even mental problems such as fatigue. Excuse me. According to the same article, an astonishing 71% of Americans are overweight. By today's population, that puts over 200 million Americans in the overweight category. This shows the severity of America's general problem with health. Now, many people recognize that much of the food eaten is not healthy and leads to an increase in diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, dementia, and a myriad of other physical health concerns. Furman also states that there is a strong causative role between poor diets and psychiatric disorders. 1 in 5 Americans suffer from. As an officer in an area where fresh food is scarce, I see a correlation between poor diets and people suffering from psychiatric disorders, which lead to unpredictable behavior, which can be dangerous not only for themselves, but for others. Bipolar, schizophrenia, psychosis, depression, anxiety, all contribute to many of the calls for service that we experience. Now, another incredible way to help our physical and mental health is exercise. Exercise is known to elevate our hearts, moods, and endorphins. I'm sure you've exercised, and as grueling as it may have been at the time, afterwards you felt great. You might have been a little winded, but there was a certain clarity, a certain feeling of well-being. Now, an article in 2021 in Frontiers in Psychology tells us that in a control group of individuals that exercised 3 times per week for 12 weeks had a decrease in scores of depression. The same article, in words too big for me to pronounce, also tell us from numerous verified studies that moderate to intense exercise reduced effects and impacts of depression, PTSD, and a wide variety of mood disorders. Exercise boosts mood, releases endorphins in the brain, the feel-good chemical that makes us happy. And exercise provides mental clarity. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the term runner's high, but it's the feeling that after a long run, it's like you see the world in a whole new light. Now, making change is easy, but it's the consistency that can kill our motivation. Here's what can be done to keep it. So what distracts us in life? What pulls us away from the change that we want to see in ourselves? Media, right? TV, movies, music, video games, excuses. I know I'm the king of them. I'm not the only one. People, friends, family, they pull us away from what we want to do. and take us somewhere else. Now, Health Psychology Review posted an article in Volume 12, 2018, which was put together by numerous authors and peer-reviewed by even more, stated that making and maintaining positive changes was not only possible, but necessary in improving our lives. Described as, and I quote, comprising a set of overlapping cognitive control processes. That same article tells us how overlapping our almost instinctual process is necessary in engaging goal-directed behavior. In other words, we must defeat ourselves to overcome ourselves. So how do we change it? Confrontation. We need to confront ourselves with the truth of how we are and how we want to be. I find it intriguing that a central topic within this article was a very sobering conversation that I've recently had with myself. And I'll quote, "This transformation involves integrating the newly adopted behavior with one's sense of self and developing a more centered, empowered state for this sense of self." What does this mean? It means that when we confront ourselves and face ourselves with sobering facts that we need to make change and incorporate this into our identity, that we are no longer who we used to be, but instead are becoming who we want to be and making that an integral part of who we are, that is when change begins to grow. One of my favorite sayings is that after every storm, there's blue skies. Meaning that even when it's hard, eventually things clear up and you can see clearly. So in conclusion, we have all made choices that lead us into an unfavorable outcome. I'm happy you let me explain how we can take control of the most important choice, our health, and why. So in this world and in this life, we have choices. Some are simple, some are fleeting, others are complex and forever leaving an impact. Our health and our lifestyle, I would argue, affect not only the small things, but the most grandiose. Not only does our personal health affect us, but affect those around us, strangers and family alike. Let's be better than we were yesterday.